You mentioned that the Patriot Act was triggered by the terror after 9/11. And, of course, the San Bernardino massacre seemed to give the FBI free rein to go after Apple to try to get software to decrypt the iPhone. Do you think the intelligence community is waiting for another San Bernardino to once again launch that effort, or have they understood the need for strong encryption?
No, look, I think the intelligence community is really divided on that question. And this is what's so fascinating about it, is that you see people in the military and the NSA who are doing cyber defense who realize that actually we have more to lose than more to gain in a world where encryption is easily breakable by law enforcement. And then you see people, again, who have tunnel vision. If you're the FBI director and your job is domestic law enforcement, you're going to see encryption as a problem to be solved and not as something that's a benefit. But that legal dispute between the FBI and Apple was completely fascinating. And I really don't believe it would have turned out the same way before Snowden. I think that it would have been resolved quietly. I think Apple would have done the FBI's bidding, like many companies did back then. And I think that what the Snowden revelations did is that it really exposed that there are no U.S. corporations. These are all global corporations. If there's no company that only wants to sell its phones in the United States, they want to sell them in France and Israel and China and even Russia. And if they're going to do that, they can't be seen as an arm of the U.S. security state. And if the U.S. requires them to build a certain capability, they're going to have to make that capability available to China and to make it available to Russia and Uzbekistan as well. So, I think a lot of people were surprised that Apple was able to successfully resist the FBI in that case. And I, for one, was surprised that the public was pretty divided, that even in an emotionally, disturbing terrorism case where the FBI was trying to get into the phone of someone who clearly was a terrorist murderer, the public understood that the debate was not so simple and that there were real principles on both sides.
Yeah, it surprised me too. And it was fascinating. We spent a lot of time talking about it.
It's not over, though. It's not over.
Right.
They will live to fight another day on this. And I think that, look, we saw them in some ways litigating that case the way the ACLU litigates cases, right? It's not a secret that we do strategic litigation, that we try to find plaintiffs that are sympathetic, that we time them, the lawsuits for maximum effect.
Shocked.
And that goes all the way back to the Scopes monkey trial about evolution, where the ACLU orchestrated that whole case and paid the fees of both sides.
What? Wait a minute. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? That's 1925.
Because they wanted a decision.
Wanted to have that trial, which you can see.
Sometimes you want, and that's just what I was saying earlier about Snowden. Sometimes a trial is a very valuable way to get to the facts and to let the facts flow.
That's right.
So people
It can be.
It can.
And then other times it can really manipulate through emotion. And so what the FBI did in the San Bernardino case is clearly they wanted this authority much more than they wanted the data in that phone. I think they realized that there was nothing of great value in the phone, but they wanted the ability to go to a court and force companies to open up their phones to them. So they waited for a terrorism case. And a week before this case became public, the FBI recruited a retired judge to be amicus counsel, friend of the court counsel, to the San Bernardino victims' families.
Yeah.
So that they could participate in the case. And again, they really wanted to make this about emotion and not reason. And that can be a very, very effective tool in these cases. What's surprising is that it didn't work, because I can tell you that between 2001 and 2013, the government pretty much just had to say terrorism and national security, and the courts would fall into line. I spent my career having important cases thrown out on those grounds.